The Sports Source is brought to you by Fast Frame. Turn your memorabilia into a work of art.
This is The Sports Source, presented by Bill Hotz and Associates, and by Renewal by Andersen, with your host, John Pennington.
Good Sunday morning. Welcome in on this New Year's Eve morning. That's a lot to say there. Good New Year's Eve morning to you here on The Sports Source, presented by Renewal by Andersen. We're happy you joined us today. We got a lot of basketball to talk about. That's where we're going to start. We've also got a lot of football to cover. We're going to get into recruiting, new people being hired to the staff. We're going to try and show you, we'll show you who we think is going to do what on the coming staff, the football staff. And also we're going to recap the 5 biggest UT stories of the year. Why were they the biggest? Why were they the weirdest? We also could have just said weirdest, because it's been a weird 2017, and we're going to tell it, get the heck out of Dodge as we prepare for 2018. Let's get started. First segment of today's show brought to you by Renewal by Andersen. And 2018 is going to be a great year for you to invest in your home with the finest replacement windows and doors in America. Maximum savings on your energy bills, plus a new look for your home to increase its value. Check out rbaknoxville.com or renewalbyandersen.com. As you can tell, my voice is going to be coming and going throughout today's show. I'm going to do it in the Chris Berman voice. But Renewal by Andersen, get out there, check them out, and check out that website. We look forward to working with them in 2018. I want to welcome in these guys who I also enjoy working with in 2017 and look forward to 2018. Former Vol basketball staff member Mark Pankratz, thank you. Chibby Himes back with us, Mike Strange back, Chuck Cavaleris down there, and we've still got Josh Ward waiting in the wings to jump in here with us. It was a tough loss yesterday, 95-93, in overtime at Arkansas. There were a lot of different things you could take from that game. One, you led almost the entire way, blew it in the end. Okay, that's pretty bad. You also went on the road and played well in what's probably the second toughest environment in the SEC, only to Rupp Arena in Fayetteville. Okay, that would be a plus. It was a golden opportunity to steal an SEC win on the road. You didn't do it. At the same time, not only on the road, but 2 overtimes with 4 of your guys fouled out, and you still only lost 95-93. Is that a terrible, horrible, unforgivable loss? Was that, no, it's a positive. You take some good stuff from it. Or is it somewhere in between?
Well, it's somewhere in between because of that opportunity. There's not going to be many SEC teams that go into Arkansas and get that victory. And so you had one right there that was there for the taking. Some positives, the maturity to be able to put yourself in the position. But then the flip side of that of guards not being able to make plays down the stretch to be able to get this team to win. There's some things that are concerning. You know, we'll talk about guarding the basketball later, but also how do we get Bowden involved? Bowden is a guy that leading the SEC in three-point field goal percentage, doesn't get a shot the last 20 minutes of the game. That can't happen. So there's just things that you can take away from a positive, but there's a lot that just leaves you scratching your head.
And you knew when it went to overtime you weren't going to have Grant Williams. The road was going to be tough at that point. Schofield then goes down. And it's really amazing at that point that you were able to even keep it close to 2. Your thoughts on the performance by the Vols? Where are you guys yesterday? Do you take some positives from it, or do you look at it and say, man, that's a missed opportunity? You got to close.
Well, it was a missed opportunity, but I think there were more positives than negatives. You mentioned the people fouling out. I thought Grant Williams had some tough calls against him that fouled him out. And officiating seems to have a really big impact in basketball, doesn't it? But I thought that, look what happened to A&M, which is considered the best team in the SEC right now. They go to Alabama and lose by, 20? So it's tough on the road. I think Arkansas is really good. I understand this is fluid, but if you looked at Arkansas's RPI going in, they were as high as number 11 in some circles. So I think that's a really good veteran basketball team that's going to be tough to win. Yes, you missed an opportunity. You'd like to be able to close better, but I thought there were more positives than negatives.
Guys?
It was both. It was an awful loss because what we already said, but it was also positive that Tennessee, going into that environment against that team, gave itself a chance to win, gave itself a really good chance to win as a positive. But I think it underscored some things I saw in the North Carolina game too, that Grant Williams if Grant Williams was 6'9" or 6'10", wow, but he's 6'7", and he was 5 of 13 from the field yesterday. And my point is, because he's only 6'7", he's shooting a lot of contested shots in there. So he's not gonna, he gets some good looks, but they're contested because he's 6'7". and the guards, Arkansas with those senior guards with good size, that really.
And didn't we see this before against North Carolina at home? I mean, sooner or later, just being in position, yeah, that's good. But you're going to look back, especially after Tennessee's first 6 games in SEC this year. You're going to look back and say we can't let very many winnable games slip away. And Jimmy, you're talking about the officiating. Boy, that 4th foul on Grant Williams, that's a great block.
Yeah,
how can you call that a foul?
Well, and they great block. Then we go down and shoot a quick 3. They come down and make a 3.
Right.
Then we turn it over against pressure, and it's a big changing point in the game.
It is.
In terms of the choker thing, because that word is being used with this team now, Chuck's right. It happened in North Carolina.
It didn't happen at Wake Forest.
That's it. Didn't happen with Purdue, who was
Or
12-2
Georgia Tech.
going in yesterday.
Yeah.
Didn't happen with NC State, who was 10-2 going into yesterday. Didn't happen at Wake Forest. It seems to me, and we'll talk about this later, this is my problem with basketball. People watch it like it's football, and it's silly to think you're going to go undefeated in football every year. When you play 35 games in basketball and you get mad over loss number 3, you're going to get mad a lot unless you're pulling for Kentucky or Carolina, not even Kentucky this year. Unless you're pulling for one of the top 2 teams in the country, you're going to have probably with this team 10 losses or so. But I want to get your take on that later. The choker label, is it too soon to hit them with it? Or does some of that carry over from last year, that there were times last year you couldn't get over the hump? Where are you? If you're Rick Barnes, you know you're beating the drum, you've got to close out games. Any coach would say that. How much is that real that this team has serious issues in terms of getting over the hump?
I don't. I think you're looking at some North Carolina, your top teams in the country, and on the road against Arkansas. Jim just mentioned how they did against Wake Forest. I mean, they're growing, they're maturing. We have to remember this team was picked 13th in the league. All of a sudden, we win some basketball games, and now we're not going to lose anything. So we're not at that level of being a choker label.
Sometimes I'll watch it, and either I think one more player needs to emerge. I have the feeling that they're just like one player away. And then yesterday, you cannot let the press, especially on the road, affect you as much as it seemed to do. Even if you got the ball inbounds and up court, it really seemed to disrupt what kind of offense you were able to get into. So I think those are just things, either coaches' decisions or fouls. Who have you got on the floor that can put the ball in the bucket?
Okay, good deal. Let me show you. I did a Venn diagram to show you what I thought about yesterday. It's a little of both. Blown lead, bad. Played well on the road, good. You take both of them. It's not either or. There were a lot of people that were trying to do the either or thing yesterday. It's a long season, this basketball thing, and you look at one game, there was some good to take from it. There was some bad that they're going to have to get over. All right, we'll talk more basketball with Mark Pankratz a little later. We got football with Josh Ward coming up. But next, we're going to start our countdown of the 5 biggest, weirdest stories of the year at UT. We'll tell you what number 5 and number 4 are next. Stick around.